So the surround pound melee weapon is in the shop, I believe, until September 5th, but please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong on that. Obviously, I bought a second copy of this, not at all needing it, but I may as well have a second copy of it, right? The weapon itself, I found to be pretty fun in just general use as a hardware melee. I mean, I think having a constructor like Tank Penny build actually improved some of my experience with it, but there's probably something with my loadout that I could have changed anyways. Crit damage, crit rating, energy, attack speed, and crit damage are the perks that I was using. If you plan on running this for Storm King, you want to use physical element, as it will be more effective against the Storm King's horn. Otherwise, you can use these exact same perks. And in my case here, I probably should have changed one of these crit damages to a damage perk, or at the very least, change my commander to a Guardian Bull. And of course, like I said, I bought a second copy in case I want to do anything else funny with this weapon, which I already have one idea that might happen sometime in the future. Hero Loadout. Tank Penny, like I said, increases hardware damage by 50%, and I probably should have changed it consider that I left double crit damage, crit rating. I probably should have switched to Guardian Bull to take advantage of his increased crit rating, which would have allowed my double crit damage to really shine. I didn't do that, but it probably would have been the better choice. Let me know in the comments. Actually, I don't know. I'm not the most well versed for hardware melee builds, but my build was Tank Penny, Blast from the Past, Saurian Claws, Saurian Hide, Assassination, Hardware Crit Rating, and Monster Smash, with Adrenaline Rush and Stationary Hover Turrets. So I played a Power 132 mission, and I was kind of just destroying a lot of the enemies. We've got an encampment right away, which is good, I guess. And instantly feels like I'm doing a lot. Got this enemy dancing. I'm also lagging for some reason. Kind of wish Tank Penny had a decoy, but it doesn't really matter. Took an oddly long time for those enemies to spawn. And with the energy copy of this weapon, I feel like it's doing a lot better. I did originally intend on doing both physical and energy as like two separate tests, but then I kind of settled on just doing energy. Okay, stop running, or while walking. You can't get me here. Yeah, I think that hiding spot actually worked on. There's two. I am stunning takers, I'm noticing. Which, I mean, I guess I'm stunning a lot of other enemies that wouldn't be surviving just one or two hits. It's a lot of ranged enemies, but nothing my heavy attack can't handle. As the heavy attack of this weapon is great for crowds. That's not a very good showcase when there's two enemies and a third one that didn't get hit by it. But it basically, you can use it to pierce through a large quantity of enemies in just the one hit. Maybe over here could be a good showcase for it. Yeah, right there I've just kind of hit a bunch of enemies in that crowd. I got them dancing as well, which prevents them from attacking or damaging structures. I do also have the encampment here, which will be another good way to showcase the heavy attack. Hello, encampments. I'm going to wait for a few more enemies to spawn if possible, or not. That's all that's going to spawn. Guess what? If I eliminate him, the encampment ends, I think. Yeah. So right there, I've just cleared a bunch of basic water husks using just the heavy attack, which is really good. Now I've got a lot of lobbers and enemies that are just going to try to do their best to stay as far away from me as possible. That was teamwork right there, me and that boar. Just die. I'm over it. I'm gonna grab that sample, and I think over here there's a shotgun somewhere, and some more enemies. Hover turrets. Heavy attack. And that was a good way to clear a crowd. The hover turret is just going to apply some damage to each enemy, or at least some damage to most of the enemies here. and that's going to just allow them to be weaker when I come around to hit them. And there's the enemies down the hill, kind of destroyed as well. I do need all these ranged enemies and mist monsters to just die. That's another thing I like with the heavy attack. You can hit enemies from a couple tiles away from, not really a couple tiles, but a fair distance away from you, which is great when the enemies are running away from you, and when there's this many loppers. I'm realizing a lot of this video is going to be me in the storm trying to fight these enemies, because I know they won't come to me, because of Epic's genius idea of making enemies despawn when they don't know what to do. We've got even more enemies over here, and I don't have the energy for a heavy attack. Okay, noted. Now I do. Okay, you need to just stop letting yourself get attacked by a tiny enemy that you should be able to kill easily, Mr. Wild Animal, sir. May as well take that. 225, 250 with now all 30 samples. May as well see if I can clear some of these enemies out here as well. May I come in? Nice propane. Speaking of propane, actually, using the heavy attack against propane husks, you can actually make them drop their propanes, but usually the propane might despawn after they die. In this case, I don't know why this one didn't, but I can now hit it and make it explode myself, and I just killed someone down there with it. Okay, that's cool. That was the most random, unexpected turn of events. There are a lot of lobbers over here. It's like I can hear so many of them. I only saw the two, which is very concerning. Oh no, I see like 3 or 4 out there. Let's go say hi because I know they're hiding around this corner. Or they just despawned. Actually, I think they despawned. Even more enemies over here. Small crowd here. I do notice that's a nature smasher. Nice try. I'm so glad he did that. That's hilarious. Against the riot shield, I was still able to use the heavy attack to just go straight through him. So that is a great way to counter the riot shield husks. Aside from just like jumping around them or using a trap, you can actually use the surround pound to just hit them, knock them down, and make them vulnerable to attacks. And that's a crowd just destroyed within just one heavy attack. And a small husk that wants to run away. Mr. Smasher, hello. Obviously against the Smasher, like, I'm seeing some impact being able to knock him back, like that. But it's not the most effective. Even the heavy attack, it's not going to instantly destroy him. But I suppose that's what a lot of explosive and high damage range weapons are for as well. Not that a melee weapon can't easily destroy a Smasher, more or less that most of the time if you're up against the high power Smasher, you're going to be using like an explosive weapon, like the pot shot, or maybe the Storm King's Wrath, or the Plasmatic Discharger. So final thoughts is I like this round pound as a general use hardware melee weapon. I found that it was still pretty effective against power 132 enemies, even with my probably mediocre tank penny build. I did obviously run with the exact same perks I used for Mythic Storm King back in the day, with the exception of the element, which was physical for Storm King, but I switched it to energy for this video. I probably could have made some other changes to my perks to get maybe a different outcome, because having it rolled this much for crit while also not trying to rely on crits in gameplay is not great. But then again, I might take some time on my own to experiment with that, since I bought a second copy of the weapon,